In today's video, I'm going to be doing a deep dive into the Eastern Caribbean Antilles sailing with Virgin Voyages, and in case you missed it, I gave this the highest possible score in my general ranking tier list video. So without further ado, let's discuss how you can have the most amazing sailing of your life. All of that up next. You don't want to miss it. Right, so before we get started on the sailing itself, let's make sure that I explain to you why this is considered a full product sailing. You see, this sailing leaves from Port Miami, which is where Terminal V is, Virgin's home terminal, and it goes to Bimini. Not to mention, it is an 8-night sailing. So why is all of this important to you to consider? Number one, it means you're going to have the most ideal, tailor-made embarkation process that Virgin wants you to have. Not only that, 8 nights on the ship means that even if you're a newcomer to Virgin Voyages, you will have more than enough time to explore every single restaurant and every single space and form of entertainment that the ship itself has to offer. And last but not least, because one of your ports is Bimini, that means you will be able to go to the Virgin Voyages Beach Club at Bimini, which is incredible, but more on that later. Let's get started with the ports. So the first port we're going to actually be talking about is Port Miami. You see, Virgin Voyages typically offer an early luggage drop-off at Terminal V, their home port, where you'll be leaving from. However, because it's early luggage drop-off, that means it's going to be starting long before your check-in time probably begins. So how do you sort of balance out going to do this early and then also the hassle of having to get there and go and do something else because there's nothing to do at the port? Well, really simply put, Virgin offer a free of charge shuttle that will pick you from the terminal and take you all the way to the Bayside Marketplace, which is west of the terminal. This is an outdoor mall. It's really lovely. There's plenty of places to get something to eat or drink in the meantime, or do some last minute shopping. But more importantly, and something to make you aware of as a bonus tip, about 5 minutes west of Bayside Marketplace is a CVS. So if you forgot or intentionally decided to leave sunscreen as something to purchase only once you landed in Miami, this is going to be a great opportunity for you to head over to the CVS, buy up that sunscreen, get yourself maybe a bottle of wine or two for your cabin, and any other sundries that you may have forgotten or on purpose left to purchase once in Miami. And then just check with the driver what time and from where they'll be picking up everybody in different intervals in order to get back to the ship. Remember, you're here for the cruise on the ship, right? Not to go to Bayside Marketplace. Right, so we are now leaving from Port Miami Terminal V and heading to Puerto Plata, the Dominican Republic, specifically Taino Bay. Now, upon arriving at Puerto Plata in Taino Bay, you're going to probably notice something quite spectacular, and that is the cruise terminal itself. You see, the port there is really its own day resort. I mean, it has everything you could want, from duty-free stores, restaurants, bars, several pools, and even a lazy river. A lazy river in a cruise port. I don't know if that's normal. I have never seen that before, but that was awesome to see. And it's really well done. So I strongly recommend that at some point during your trip here, you maybe just go and chill and lounge around by the pool, but probably at the end of the trip, once you've come back from whatever it is you've decided to do for the day. Now, on that note, let's discuss some of the main options I'd recommend to do when at Puerto Plata. Now, when it comes to Puerto Plata, you essentially have what I like to think of as two themes towards the kind of day you want to have. You can either have a very chilled and relaxed day, or you can have a more adventurous and high energy day. If you want to have a very kind of chilled, relaxed, sightseeing sort of day, then what I recommend you do is the moment you leave the cruise port, get a taxi to take you to the cable car. Once you get there, it's really inexpensive. You can head up the cable car and they have a beautiful view of the whole of Puerto Plata, as well as sort of miniature statue of Christ the Redeemer there. It's quite cool to see it, and it's actually really beautiful up there. Although there isn't that much to do aside from walk about and take in the views and get some pictures. However, just a small little thing, there actually is a little amber museum somewhere up there. Now, once you're done that, take the cable car down and then just ask a taxi to take you to the main central part of the town. Walk around, get some photos, maybe get something to drink and eat whilst you're there if you want to try some of the local food. And then I would honestly recommend that you call it a day and head back to the cruise port. Now, for those of you feeling more adventurous like myself, hence the channel name Our Next Venture, I strongly recommend that you go to probably what is the most talked about spot to visit, which is the 27 waterfalls of Jumanamidava. And yes, I said Jumanamidava because I have absolutely no idea how to pronounce that correctly, and so I figured you can just laugh at my expense. Now, more importantly, moving on to what is there to do at the 27 waterfalls of There are 3 main activities offered there. Now, the one is going in a dune buggy across a muddy road, and I strongly don't advise that you do this. Everyone that I spoke to about this prior and afterwards, as well as in my own research reading up about this, said that it is incredibly boring, lackluster, and a huge waste of time and money. So, don't do it. The other thing, which unfortunately I did, but if I had a DeLorean, I go back in time and stop myself from doing it, which is the treetop canopy ziplining. Why? Because firstly, you're going to do it in a large group. And you might think, well, why is there a problem with that? You'll do the other thing in a large group. You're right, except for one thing. You're going to have to go on a steeper hike and a longer hike to get to the starting point. And unfortunately, a lot of people are either overconfident about their fitness levels or they don't care. So it's going to take some time for people to get up to this hike. And once you finally get to the end, only then are they going to stop putting the harnesses on you. But even once they've done that and you're staring at this beautiful, majestic view that you're about to go down on the first zip line, it is beautiful, right? This rainforest and everything. Unfortunately, unless you're the first person to go, you're going to become desensitized to this insane view very quickly, to the point that when it's finally your turn and you're so sick and tired of hearing other people scream when they go down it, you're going to notice that everyone near the end just starts looking like this when they go down. Because yes, eventually you do get over it, and the rest of the zip lines are lackluster, mediocre, and terrible, so I just don't recommend it. Now, the third and final thing I strongly recommend, because yeah, that's where the namesake of this place comes from, and that are the waterfalls. Now, a few things to be aware of. Number one, you're probably going to do anywhere between 5 to 7 of the waterfalls when you go there, so don't expect all 27. Number two, they are going to give you a helmet and life preserver just in case, to make sure that you have some safety from hitting your head or, of course, drowning. Now, if you are not a strong swimmer, of course, you should still be comfortable swimming. Again, you have a flotation device, but I just watched a lot of people in absolute sheer terror as if they were on the Titanic, it just hit the iceberg, and now they were in the water and they did not know how to swim at all. And for those of you who are concerned, there was no iceberg in Dominican Republic. But thank you for your concern. I appreciate it. Aside from that, every single one of the waterfalls that you're going to encounter has got either the jumping option, a natural slide, or a ladder to go down, except for one of them where there's no jumping option and there's no ladder. There's just the slide, but this slide is at a very, very flat gradient. And so you will be able to just go at a very slow pace around it. You have no risk of it being scary or anything like that if you're concerned. And the entire experience is truly wonderful and beautiful. So I strongly recommend it. But just that, once you're done, probably make your way back to the cruise port. And again, if you've got time, walk around, shop around, and enjoy the cruise terminal. It's really, really lovely. As a bonus tip, a local drink in the Dominican Republic is something called Mama Juana. So go give it a try at one of the duty-free stores. Maybe they'll give it to you on the bus for your excursion. And yeah, consider getting it. I actually should have got it. I didn't, but it tasted quite nice. Anyway, that's it for Puerto Plata, the Dominican Republic, and now we're leaving Taino Bay. So from Puerto Plata, the Dominican Republic, we're making our way to San Juan, Puerto Rico. First things first, and only if you're a major rum lover, you have 3 options of places to go to. There's Don Q, however, that is going to be a 1.5 hour drive or Uber out. And of course, you then got to come all the way back, and you've got your time that you're spending there. So I just don't recommend it if you're coming in just for the day like you are on a sailing. To compromise, there's Ronda Barrilito, which you'll probably get offered as an excursion. They're about a 19 to 20 minute Uber drive or whatever, just from the port. And I would rather recommend that you go there if you're a major rum lover than to Don Q, just given time constraints. And definitely, whatever you do, don't go to Casa Bacardi. It's not that I have anything against the people there. I thought the staff when I went there were unbelievable, but it's very Mickey Mousey, it's very over the top, commercialized, and it just doesn't feel authentic whatsoever. Plus, I just think their rum is pretty bad. So that's that. Just don't go there, okay? Please don't go there. Now, the other thing you can do, which is really wonderful, is the El Yunque National Forest. It is the rainforest just outside of Old San Juan, and there will be plenty of third-party service providers as well as the shore excursion that will go there. It is really beautiful. It is something I would definitely consider if you like nature and hiking. Just make sure you bring a change of clothes, something to swim in, and some bug spray because, of course, it's a rainforest. The number one excursion that I could ever recommend anyone do in San Juan, especially if it's your first time going there, is no excursion at all, actually. In fact, I just strongly recommend you walk around the city and do a few things. Now, I'm not going to leave you there because that would be terrible. I'm going to tell you exactly what it is you need to do. So buckle up and get ready for what's going to be the best use of your time in Old San Juan. You're going to have the most amazing day possible. Now, just as you get off the cruise ship, you're going to turn left and carry on going straight. You're going to keep following the Marina Pier until you get to a beautiful, very photogenic building, which is actually a restaurant and bar called La Casita del Ron. Now, we're not going to stop there quite yet. Don't worry, we're coming back to this incredibly beautiful and really good cocktail bar. However, again, that's for later. It's early in the morning and we've got plenty to do and plenty of time actually to do it all. You're going to keep going straight until you go through this beautiful park. Now, before you get to the end of the park, where you'll see that there's a stunning fountain just before the ocean, On your right, there'll be a very awesome tourist information center. If you have any questions about Old San Juan, etc., you can go in there and ask them about it. Of course, the main reason I advise you go there is so that you can go and get yourself a useful map. Of course, you're going to have your phones and you can use your Apple Maps and Google Maps, but sometimes it's just nice to not be, connected to the digital stuff 24/7, especially when you're on a Virgin sailing and you have no choice but to be on that app so often. Now, moving on, you're going to keep following this path until eventually you're going to get to an opportunity to turn right and go uphill, leaving this lovely perimeter walkway that you've been on this entire time. Take that and make sure you head towards Fortaleza Street. Now, a few things before we get on to what we want to do that are time sensitive. Prior to getting to San Juan, I recommend you contact the government of San Juan, specifically La Fortaleza. I will put a link down below for you to access that. Now, they offer free tours of La Fortaleza, which is the official state residence of the governor of Puerto Rico. Not only that, it's where visiting heads of state like the President of the US, Prime Minister of the UK, and so on and so forth, will also go and stay in the guest house when they're visiting for official duties. It's incredibly beautiful, has tons of history, has some amazing photo ops for you as well. And again, it is just absolutely stunning, free of charge, and the tour guides are unbelievable. So make sure you give a call to check when they're offering it in your specific language, English, Spanish, etc. And try and go on it. But the one thing we are trying to make sure we do in La Fortaleza, which by the way is that famous main road that you always see in all the photos of Old San Juan with the colorful umbrellas and so on, is to go to get ourselves a pina colada. Now, for those of you who don't know, the pina colada was actually invented in Old San Juan. In particular, it's disputed between two different places, the Caribe Hilton and Barrachina. I don't recommend going to the Caribe Hilton. One, it's far, and two, I don't think their pina colada is actually that good. But anyway, that's going to cause some controversy. But Barrachina's is where you want to go to. So this is where we're going to get one of the 3 recommended pina coladas that I'm going to tell you to go to. This is going to be what I call the original, because this is supposedly the original. Now, it gets packed. I'm not going to be the first video on YouTube to recommend that you go there. So just know that when you're in port, and at other cruise ships in particular, a lot of people are going to try and make their way there. And honestly, this is not something I want to make it sound like I'm an alcoholic. But if ever there was a drink to wait in line for, this actually is it. And I hate lines like anyone else. So I strongly recommend you make your way there in time for when they open up, and try and see if you can get a seat at the bar. The bar is very beautiful, and order yourself a pina colada. If time is of the essence, or you don't want to wait longer than around 30 minutes, and I don't recommend you wait 30 to 40 minutes or anything longer than that, I would recommend asking them if you can just purchase to go. In that event though, I would hazard a guess that if you do like pina coladas or mildly enjoy them, you should probably each get 2 pina coladas to go. Yes, you're going to double fist those, and you're going to do it proudly. Anyway, you're on vacation, it's island time, no one's going to judge you. But you are obviously going to look like a tourist, and the fact you have 2 pina coladas is definitely going to let everyone know that, for sure. But onwards and upwards. Next up, it's probably going to be around lunchtime, so if you're hungry for lunch, you want to go to a place called Los Viejos. Los Viejos is, in my opinion, the best place to go get the local delicacy of San Juan, which is mofongo. It is absolutely delicious. I strongly recommend the skirt steak mofongo. And on that note, they actually do a really, really good pina colada, but it's going to be more similar to what you've had outside of Puerto Rico. Having said that, it is still, like every pina colada you're going to have in Puerto Rico, going to be as if it's from another galaxy. It is just so much better. And this one, again, is going to be more familiar. So I like to consider this one as the standard. Once you're done there, we're going to head to the first of 2 forts in Old San Juan, Castillo San Cristobal. Now, when you buy your day pass there, please be aware it should also include the visiting of the second fort, which you're going to make your way to right after you're done here, which is Castillo San Felipe del Moro. Now, after taking in all the rich, amazing history of both these incredible forts, and of course getting some incredible photos with all the amazing vantage points, you're going to make your way to Chocobar Cortez. Now, whilst Chocobar Cortez is not unique to San Juan, they do have locations elsewhere in the world. I would strongly recommend, but only if there is not a significant line. Again, don't wait longer than 10 minutes for this place. But if there isn't a line, go inside and make sure you order yourself one of the incredibly delicious items off their menu. However, if it is really busy and it's not worth waiting, because quite honestly on a cruise ship day, the line can wrap around the block for ages. Just around the corner is an incredible bar and the location of our third and final pina colada that you need to try whilst in Old San Juan, and that is the Cave. Now, the Cave mostly does tapas and cocktails, and we're only going there again for the third and final pina colada that I want to recommend to you, and that is their screw colada. It's probably going to be the sweetest to you out of the three we've tried. So remember, originally we were at Barachina and we had what I call the original. Then you were at Los Viejos and had what I'd say is the standard. And now we're at the Cave. And at the Cave, we're getting the screw colada, which is what I'd say the modern twist. It is delicious, and again, like nothing you've ever tasted before, completely different between the other two pina coladas that you've been recommended by me so far. Once you're done with that, it's on to the next place. We're going to make our way down closer towards the ship, back to that beautiful photogenic bar and restaurant that we spoke about earlier and would have passed on our way to the Fountain and Tourist Center, which is La Casita del Ron. La Casita del Ron is a stunning, photogenic, and really good cocktail bar. It's a fantastic place to go end off your day just before heading back on the ship. Go and sit outside underneath the beautiful canopy that they have there and order yourself one of their iconic cocktails whilst looking at the beautiful bay of Old San Juan, perhaps even if you're lucky during the sunset, seeing as you're there late enough. After you've had that beautiful, delicious, and hopefully refreshing final cocktail at La Casita del Ron, you can take a nice, peaceful stroll along the marina back towards the cruise ship. And now we say goodbye to Old San Juan and make our way from Puerto Rico to the beautiful island of St. Croix in the US Virgin Islands. Now in St. Croix, there are 4 things I can recommend you doing. The one that you can do is going to the Frederiksted historic site. The other and much more closer by and somewhat more popular is Fort Frederick, which is actually in walking distance, although it is quite a walk. Then, if you want to use this as one of what I would say are your 2 best options for a chilled and awesome beach day, you can make your way to the nearby Rainbow Beach. However, the last thing, and it is definitely the number 1 on my own list, is for sure to go to Buck Island. Now, if you're either scuba diving or snorkeling, this is a must-do. In fact, I would strongly suggest that even if you've ever considered snorkeling, you should definitely do Buck Island. The ship will offer you an excursion, and there are many other service providers who will offer it too. I will leave a link below for the one that Virgin Voyages used when I did my excursion through them. Buck Island, by the way, is going to be probably one of the most beautiful beaches you've ever been to, and the snorkeling or scuba diving, whichever one you're able to do, is honestly going to be breathtakingly beautiful. And now, last but certainly not least, the moment you've all been waiting for, the beach club at Bimini. So first things first, let's talk logistics. If you're sailing with Virgin Voyages, number 1, they will organize and arrange for you throughout the day a tram that will take you from the ship all the way to the beach club. Now, just to be aware of the following 2 things. If you're a rock star, there'll be a separate tram for you should you wish to use it, and it is direct, as far as I recall, to the beach club. For everyone else, or for the rock star who just missed their tram, you can of course join the regular tram that is going to go to the beach club, but it will stop at where the excursions take place, as well as the casino, seeing as this is an arrangement between Virgin Voyages and Resorts World Bimini, which pretty much own the entire island. Virgin Voyages Beach Club at Bimini essentially acts as an extension of the ship, but on land. You see, your wristband will work whilst you're at Bimini's Beach Club. Not only that, the Wi-Fi will work, as well as any other perks you may have from being on the ship. So for examples, rock stars, instead of having Richard's Rooftop, you have Richard's Retreat. Now, some tips that I have for Bimini, so listen up very carefully. Number 1, if you are a rock star, just be aware that the only difference really between you and other guests on Virgin Voyages is that your area is a shaded seating area with its own bar, and you will get the exact same food as everyone else. The only difference is that you can order it and be served at tableside. Now, for everybody else, and rock stars included, again, I strongly recommend that you try and get there somewhat early so you can easily grab a nice seat on the west side close to the pool if you prefer to finally swim in a pool, seeing as you've been denied nothing but a pond on the ship throughout the sailing. Sorry, it's a pond. It's way too small to call that a pool. And that X thing, I have no idea what it is. Now, when the music gets maybe a bit too loud for you as well, if you're like me, I highly recommend you then take this opportunity to shift towards the beach. Remember, there are plenty of lounges, and if the weather's really good, this is going to be one of the most beautiful beaches you've probably ever been at. For those of you who are considering renting a cabana, I personally would recommend against this. 1, I just think it's overpriced and a real waste of money. You could rather go and spend that on, I don't know, bidding for an upgraded cabin or just almost anything else. because at the end of the day, I have always found that there's more than enough seating at the beach club. Last but not least, let's talk about the food. Now, the food at the beach club at Bimini, if I had to be honest with you, I wouldn't say it's unbelievable. Don't expect your typical dinner restaurant style quality. However, I would say it's probably one step up from the galley, so I guess that's a plus. Now, with everything that I've spoken about and recommended, I have included a link to all of it in the description section below this video, so make sure you go check it out if any of that is going to be useful to you. Again, I've put this up so that you can save yourself some time and money and have the most amazing adventure on the Eastern Caribbean Antilles sailing. Last but not least, if you found this video useful, I would greatly appreciate, if you haven't already, for you to hit the subscribe button, give the video a thumbs up, and leave a comment in the comment section below, because believe it or not, a really interesting fact about this video, it was not going to be the first deep dive video that I did, but because one of my subscribers who subscribed, liked, and commented the video wrote below requesting to please do this as the first one, I did him a favor and made it the first video. And if you'd like to get your deep dive in the front of the line or have a suggestion for anything else you'd like me to talk about, by all means, subscribe, like, and comment below. And I promise you I'll do my best to not only read it, respond, but also consider it. That's it for me. Have a great day. Cheers. Bye.